Hello and welcome back to another action-packed episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer Jeremiah Long, and joining me to recap the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? The NFL is almost coming to a close. We had a tremendous two games yesterday played on Sunday, and I can't wait to talk about the AFC Championship. What a game it was, and what a end result. I can't wait to get into it, man.
Absolutely. And for everybody at home, I bet you are so excited for the Super Bowl that's going to be coming up. And if you watch the game, you know how action packed and how much amazing football and how many historic moments happened in this last game. So, Mr. Logan Landers, break us down the final game between the Bengals and the Chiefs. Who won? What were the plays of the game? And what made this such a historic game to watch?
What a crazy game it was because the Bengals, no one thought they'd even be here, right? No one thought that a team back in 2020 who had only 4 wins and was drafting number one overall would be 2 years later going to the Super Bowl, let alone winning the AFC Championship. And the momentum wave that they've been on really since they got in the playoffs has been something that you see in movies, right? It's something that you see of this plucky underdog team that no one expects to go far in the playoffs, to maybe get one win and that's about it. But here they are. They're going for the biggest prize in football. And this game between them and the Chiefs, it was a great game, right? Because Kansas City was up 21 to, man, they were up by a good amount of points, right? They were up by 21 points at one point. And it was just crazy. At halftime, 21-3. But, man, the Bengals just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And, man, just the way that they were able to rally around Joe Burrow and help him out and everything was absolutely astonishing. And looking at some of the stats, right? Joe Burrow, 23 of 38, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But the big key was that he was only sacked 1 time, which is crazy because last week against the Titans, he got sacked 9 times. So I don't know what was said between him or the coaches or a mixture of both to that offensive line, but whatever it was, they got in shape and they showed out, and I was very impressed by how well they protected their quarterback. It's crazy because he had less sacks than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, 26 of 39, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 4 sacks. So, overall, a very good game for Patrick, right? He did great in the first half, obviously. They had 21 points. And it's what we came to expect from him, right? As a phenomenal player, as a MVP candidate, and everything along those lines. We're still going to be seeing him up there for a bunch of trophies in the very near future. But, man, being up 21-3 at one point in the game, it's hard to blow that lead, right? You're just down 18 to even tie it. And, man, at halftime, like the Chiefs were going to run away with it. Like I said, they're up 23-10. And then the second half happened, and something crazy happened. The Chiefs pretty much got shut out, right? They got a field goal in the fourth quarter, which was enough to send it to overtime, right? Which is amazing because all the games last week, as we know, the divisional round were absolutely insane. All those went pretty much to overtime. And it was kind of like, looking back, and all the Bills fans were, I'm sure, upset when they saw, it's like, all right, well, we're going to overtime. It's time for a coin toss, right? Because that's how pretty much the Bills lost last week. And it's just, everyone's like, oh, well, the Chiefs won the coin toss, right? They're going to receive. And that means, if it looked like that last week, they're going to march down the field and get the victory. But, a costly interception by Mahomes. He could have got picked off the play before by Eli Apple. It just didn't work out. But thankfully, the next play, thanks to Von Bell, got the interception, man. And Joe Burrow and the rest of the guys in the Bengals, they led the march down the field. And then probably the best kicker, in football right now, the rookie Evan McPherson had a phenomenal game, 4 of 4 from field goals. Longest was 52. He put up 13 points. So, that's really where we always talk about special teams comes into a big factor in the playoffs. And, he needed to get that field goal to send him to the championship, kicked it right down the middle through the uprights, and it sent them packing. They're going to be going to the Super Bowl in a phenomenal game. I mean, like I said, Joe Burrow did great. The confidence he's got right now is radiating, right? The whole team's behind him, and all of Cincinnati is they're already trying to build that statue in his second season, pretty much. But he had a great game. It wasn't just him. Joe Mixon had a good game, 21 carries for 88 yards, helped get the running game established. Jamar Chase didn't have a whole lot going on. He's getting double-teamed a lot. He had 6 catches for 54. But they did have T. Higgins have a phenomenal game coming out of Oak Ridge High School, of course, out there in Tennessee. So he had a phenomenal game with 6 catches for 103 yards. So he was really able to help spread out that offense and get a lot more targets. And just the defense played great as well, right? Only giving up 3 points in the second half. Big shout outs to Trey Hendrickson for getting a sack and a half, BJ Hill for getting an interception and half a sack, and Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, all those guys for just holding it down, getting a bunch of tackles. And it was a phenomenal game, right? It was a very good game, and it was one where you just thought the Chiefs were going to pull it off, right? They had all the favorites. Everyone picked them to win. I picked them to win, and it was just a battle of who wanted it more, especially in the second half. The Bengals wanted it a little bit more than the Chiefs, and they got it done, and they are now going to the Super Bowl in a phenomenal game. I loved watching this game, man. It was a great game, and I can't wait to see what happens for the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the Bengals going on to the Super Bowl is a huge thing, and they've just worked so hard. It's been unexpected turns here and there, even though they've just been busting their booties this entire season. Also, just shout out again to T. Higgins. I actually lived in Oak Ridge, Tennessee for quite a while, over 10 years actually, and I saw T. Higgins coming up when we were there, and when he was really playing hard at Oak Ridge, everyone was very excited throughout the town. And then when he actually just left high school and went from high school to the NFL, everyone was losing their minds. And it's just a very unusual situation, for kids to come out of high school and go straight into the NFL and skip completely past college. And yeah, it's just not, especially in football, it's happened, LeBron obviously in basketball, but for people to come out of high school and be ready to go from high school football to play in the NFL level, that's just incredible. So everybody's always been very excited from Oak Ridge about T. Higgins, and we just love that kid out there, and he's doing a great job. And we just, I just remember in Oak Ridge, they do this thing called like the wolf call, I think it is, or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure that Oak Ridge is like the wolf pack or something. I don't know. In any case, I forget how it connected, but I know that right after T. Higgins did get drafted, and when he would play at a certain time, and I believe it was like 7:30 or something in the city of Oak Ridge, everyone in Oak Ridge would go outside of their house, and this is a pretty small town, and they would howl like outside. And if you go outside around that time, you'd hear it and just listen. You'd be like, or you'd hear people howling. Yeah, pretty crazy. Like you live in like a werewolf city. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, the most exciting part of that. Yeah, so shout out to Higgins, shout out to the Bengals, and shout out to the Chiefs for your hard-fought year. It may not be going to the Super Bowl, but what an amazing season. And so everybody watching, tell us, what do you think? What were your favorite moments from Kansas City's run up this year? And what were your favorite moments for the Bengals? Did you expect Cincinnati to make it to the Super Bowl? We would love to hear from you in the comments. Tell us on Facebook or over on YouTube in the comments what you think. And if you're listening to our podcast, we'd love to hear from you over there too. You can join us on Spotify. You can join us on Apple Podcasts. You can join us on Amazon, on, I always want to say Upload, but Overcast. Yeah. Shout out to Overcast. And what we would love for you to do is drop us a quick review. You don't have to go too in depth unless you have a lot to say. But if you'd love to just go over there and give us a review, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and write us a little note that says something to the effect of, hey, I'm watching the show. Love it, guys. That's all you got to do. You don't even have to send us a huge note. You don't have to put any special information in there unless you really would love to. But every little bit of rating, every little line that you send us so that we know that you're out there, it helps us so much to get pushed up further and further in the algorithm, even though our best and most tried and true way, and the way we are most thankful to you for helping us, is by word of mouth, by telling your friends and family about us. Just being like, hey, you listen to 100 Yards of Football? And they'll be like, Well, of course, I listen to it every single week. And then go to your next friend and be like, what about you? Are you listening to 100 Yards of Football? And they'll be like, no, what's that? And you can just tell them all about our amazing show with over 600 podcast episodes and nearly we may over 1,000 episodes on
Yep.
the.
We are
Yeah,
now over 1,000. Yeah, on
over
YouTube, over 1,000 on YouTube, and 1,000 plus on Facebook.
That's incredible. Over 1,000 live videos that we have brought you. That is amazing. Mr. Logan Landers, you've been getting some great broadcast hours under your belt through all that time. And yeah, I come from broadcast television before that too. So this just adds to the great amount of on-air hours that I have as well. So just loving being here, loving the excitement of the show, and loving everything we get to bring to you every single week. So thank you again for watching our show covering the recap of the Cincinnati Bengals win over the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship with our host, Logan Landers. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and we'll be right back with